Here we go. All things fall.
Today's episode is all about fall.
Fall is here. This is going to be fun.
Hi, we're Jonathan and Mandy, and this is our RV Tracks. In 2022, we sold it all to chase a dream of living a full and free life. We started this channel to document our travels across the country and found something out, and we love to inspire people. So whether it's taking a trip of a lifetime, or starting a new business, or just simply living a life more loved, we hope that we can bring a smile to your day and inspire you to chase your dreams, big and small.
All right, so here we go. All things fall. Camping for me has always been the funnest in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get to that more later on some memories. We want to talk about some memories. First of all, we want to say we are glad you are here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we really just want to kind of dive right into this, but we wanted to take an opportunity. October was crazy for us, but we really want to take an opportunity to talk about fall camping before fall camping's over, because winter will be here before we know
over.
it. It happens so it's fast, quick. And we definitely didn't get the opportunity to camp like we wanted to this year, but for the fall.
We got our camper work done instead.
Yeah, we got our camper work done, and we're here, and we're in it.
Yeah.
We're in it, and we still have a couple weeks, and fortunately, we're in South Carolina, and the leaves changing is sort of later here than it is back in North Carolina and a lot of other places. So we're still catching some of that color and all the things. And so today's episode, we really just wanted to cover the fall camping and what makes it so special. And one of the first topics I wanted to really cover is that fall color.
Oh, yeah.
There is nothing better than camping outside, having that fireplace rolling with s'mores and that crisp air. It's not the freezing cold there yet, but that crisp air, and then looking around and seeing that fall color.
Yeah, especially if you're in the mountains.
Especially in the mountains.
And you're going on hikes or just out and about.
Yes.
The mountains are just beautiful.
Absolutely. So a little bit of background. When I was growing up, we camped a lot. We had a camper from the time I was a little boy and coming up, and then as we dated and then got married, we sort of, I shared that love and passion for camping with Mandy. And we tried our own little versions of it, which we'll talk about a little later. But, you know, when we're talking about fall color, if you're new to RVing, sometimes the little known secret is there are resources you can use to find when leaves are planning to change at certain times.
The peaks.
Yeah. Because you can literally, and we've done this before, not necessarily RVing, but just different times of going to the mountains for things. If you go 1 week, you're too early. You go 2 weeks later, you're too late. So like there will be this week of just like peak color.
But do you remember?
It's the time you want to be there.
Do you remember? So we were in Cherokee, North Carolina, last November.
Yes.
And the leaves, by the time we got there, like it was the beginning of November.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we left, like all the leaves have fallen off.
Yes.
But then when we were coming back from Cherokee to Myrtle Beach, I cannot remember the town we went through, but we were like, it's like we've went back in time because they were in like full peak. The leaves were just beautiful, like still on the trees.
Yes.
And it was like, I guess where we had went higher elevation, they had lost them first and then went lower elevation. They still had them.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
That's like the whole thing of like chasing the fall colors.
It is. And
it's not the same in every
It's not
every
the same.
place.
It doesn't hit the same everywhere. Elevation has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Different zones, right? As you go further north or further south, definitely on the East Coast has a big play. And so if you are someone who's wanting to maybe plan that, and to be real with you, like there's some places that are still just now hitting peak right here at November.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of resources I wanted to call out. One, believe it or not, is AccuWeather. So you can literally Google for fall color, right? A fall color guide or a fall color, and you will actually see AccuWeather pops up, and I'll share that on video here. But like, it literally tells you when to go to certain areas at certain times between October and November to find that peak color. You can also, growing up in North Carolina, we looked at there's a resource called Carolina Country, and they actually have a website as well. Yeah. But it's mainly for North Carolina, and they even break it down to which like mountains or gorges or different areas. So they get very specific.
Which I'm sure every state probably has.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention. So like, Google's your friend, but like literally Googling and finding that resource, and once you find it for your state, then you can reference it. And I'd even like to say, if you know of a special resource that doesn't, that's not maybe AccuWeather or Carolina Country or something specific that works well, share it below in the comments, because we love those tools. And next year we're really planning on attacking this fall color and chasing it. This year, our focus really wasn't on fall camping as much as it was the summer in the Rockies, but like this year, it was just about sort of getting to our season 2, right? For our long form videos of the rest and relaxing and weekend warrior. And so but this fall camping is like one of the peaks of the year. A lot of people love summertime camping. A lot of people love spring and different things. But man, fall camping to me is just
it's just something special about it.
It is. We even have this little account that we like to follow on Instagram that we wanted to mention. They're called Little Arrow Resort.
It's one of those, if you're looking to go to the mountains or like in the fall or just any time, I think it's opened year round. But if you're looking for some fall camping in Tennessee, it's right outside of Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
Nice.
It's called Little Arrow Resort. It's in Townsend, Tennessee. And it is on our bucket list of places. Like, we have a running list of campgrounds that we just want to go to and experience. And that is one of them, because they just have the cutest little camping resort. Like, it looks super nice.
It does. Yep.
But then, and they posted about the fall foliage, for Tennessee not too long ago on their page, but they have the funniest content with this Bigfoot. Mandy has showed me some of the videos, and they get very creative with Bigfoot, and it's I'm
just
like,
sort of,
if they're going to be this creative with Bigfoot, like, we got to go check it out.
Absolutely. And we really we love that. I love when someone takes something as fun as a resort, but then also puts the creativity of a Bigfoot, but then also provides the resources to say, hey, here's the fall color for Tennessee or their area. So again, it's about finding those resources. We wanted to provide some to you, but also just to mention, like, hey, find these accounts, find these ones that are in the area that you're wanting to camp, and they can really help you. Because I'm telling you, if you've never camped in fall peak color, you've got to do it like one time. Even if you rent an RV, if you're not an RVer and you're just interested and you wanted to rent an RV for one part of the year, go fall camping. It is so good. And I find where even like summertime, we can get so crazy with going and the hustle and the bustle. Fall just makes you slow down.
It does. And then too, like, one of the just amazing things about fall camping is having that campfire.
Yes.
And in the summertime, it can sometimes be too hot. And you don't want to sit around the campfire and get eaten up by mosquitoes or whatever, and then it's just hot. So, like, in the fall, when the bugs are kind of subsiding and it's cool and crisp, like, you want to drink hot chocolate or, like, some apple cider. That's, like, the perfect time.
That was, and again, I keep talking about my childhood a lot, but when we camped as a kid growing up, that was the thing. It was like in that fall, you wanted that fire. We would chop as much wood as we could fit in the truck, and we would burn it in a week. And it's just, I don't know.
And too, like, I mean, look at the time change. Like, the time just changed.
Yeah, it's dark early.
So you're not, like, going out and about as much and staying out longer like you will in summertime when you have more daylight. So that's another thing, is like it just forces you to kind of slow down in the evenings and just really enjoy time under the stars.
Yeah, and I heard somebody was talking about this that I was watching, or they were talking about camping. It was a camping channel, and they were saying, you will never have family time in front of a TV like you will in a fire.
That's true.
Sitting around a fire, our boys are small, and it's hard to make them sit still, right? Because they're just full of energy.
They got the attention span of a
It is amazing because you can get them at a fire, and they might be trying to burn a stick or cook a marshmallow, but they open up, and it is fun to hear the little things that their little brains come up with.
Yeah.
And that's
making up stories.
Making
like
up
just
stories. Or they'll ask us for scary stories or something that's happened to our life, and otherwise they wouldn't be interested. They would be busy watching TV or playing with toys, but getting around that campfire. So that wasn't even on our list, and it should have been one of the top ones, honestly, because that campfire is one of the things that makes camping so special. And I know everywhere doesn't allow campfires. That was one thing new to me. But when we went out west, a lot of places, which I understand for the dangers of. Taking a quick break from the podcast really quick to tell you about a cool product. It's called a City Bonfire. It's a great alternative if you are in a place that you can't have a campfire, or if you don't have time. It's something we use traveling out west, and we loved it. It's great for cooking marshmallows, or just a date night, or just a night hanging outside where you want a little bit of a fire but you don't want to actually build one out of wood. This was a product I was honestly skeptical about at first, but we have grown to love it. We've reached out to the company. We've actually got a discount code for you. Using our RV Tracks -15 will get you 15% off. Check this company out. They're a small company. They started just after COVID. We can't recommend them enough. So take the time. The link is in the description below. Check it out. Okay, back to the podcast. Wildfires out there. One of the next things that we wanted to talk about, other than fall color and the fire, was a particular season that opens up around fall that can really make being in the mountains special.
Yeah.
And that is
apple season.
Apple season.
If you've never went apple picking, you have got to.
You've got to. It's so different. Much fun. And I'm not even a big apple person. Like, I eat the occasional apple from the grocery store, but when you go get them from the mountains, it hits different.
Yeah.
They taste different.
And we've experienced 2 different apple orchards.
Yep.
We went to one where it was a U-pick, and so that one was that's the one I would recommend doing as a U-pick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because the kids loved it. It was just so much fun, and going around and getting the different varieties.
Yes.
That was just, I don't know, that was just such a fun day when we went.
It is.
And did that.
And on the broader spectrum, what you're actually doing is you're funding or helping to fund and support a small business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these farms are multi-generational farms, and they've got little experiences that they've made. Sometimes we've seen some with a corn maze. Some of them we've seen where they had a hollowed out silo that the kids could run in and out of and play around. One we went to, they not only sold apples, but they made apple pies. They had
both. The majority of your apple places are going to have some sort of baked goods.
Yeah, you're exactly
and
right.
you cannot go wrong.
You cannot
with some fresh apple donuts or pies or what have you. But we have 2 that we have actually been to.
Yep.
That we wanted to recommend. They're both in North Carolina. So if you're in North Carolina, it's perfect day trip.
Yes.
Even South Carolina. They're not far.
No, not far at all.
They're kind of near the North Carolina, South Carolina border. So
right.
It'd be a perfect day trip if you're in South Carolina as well. The first one is Apple Hill Orchard and Cider Mill.
Yep.
And this one is in Morganton, North Carolina. And this is the one where we went to and we picked the apples.
It was one of my favorites just because the boys had never picked apples
and then
before.
You're walking up and down kind of these hills,
and
you can see the mountains.
We could even see the town. Couldn't you see a chapel or something at the town or something? But yeah,
it was just beautiful, and it was just so fun.
Yes.
And the kids loved it.
Yes.
I came back and made my very first homemade apple pie.
Yep.
which I don't think was that great.
I don't know.
Like, it was
it's
okay.
Hard. Yeah, I mean,
It was missing.
It probably wasn't what you had in your head for what's in the magazine, right? But it was still good.
I mean, I even made homemade crust and everything, and it was so difficult. I'm really surprised it turned out edible. So if you plan to go to that one in Morganton, the Apple Hill Orchard in Cider Mill, a campground that we have been to that we highly, highly, highly recommend. It's probably one of our favorite campgrounds. And it's about 30 minutes outside of Morganton. And it is a Yogi Bear. It's a Jellystone.
That's right.
And it's Golden Valley Jellystone.
Yes.
And it used to be a Girl Scout camp.
Now, I'll tell you, like,
and it is so cool.
It's a little expensive. Like, if you're looking for the small mom and pop campground.
It's definitely more of a resort
it's more
style.
But just like what she just said, it used to be a Girl Scout camp. And so it has a lake in the middle of it, which is surrounded by trees. And then it has docks that you can walk out on. And we even went at a time where it was a little cold to be swimming in pools and stuff, but we still went out on paddle boards and kayaks.
Well, like,
the
they're
boys had a
off
blast.
peak, off season. The paddle boards, the what are those boats that you
paddle boats,
kayaks, canoes. They have all that stuff available.
That's right.
Even on off season. So like the pools, you know, were not open, but then during peak season when the pools and things like that are open, then they have the kayaks and everything out there, but you have to pay to rent them.
So
when off season you don't.
We've not went during their peak season just because I could see that place being very busy
but I want to go
paying for stuff. We want to go because there is a water park that's part of it, and we did catch that one time. I can't remember how we caught it. It was one day right before they were closing for the season.
No, it was like,
or was it just we were just there for a day?
No, it was right as the season was opening. And so they were only open on the weekends.
Early. Yep. We went back
caught
in the spring.
That weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we highly recommend this place for the family value. Like, it's very clean. They have
it all. They
do.
have putt-putt. Yep. They have a couple of trails, like hiking trails, and they've put in, I'm not sure if it's done yet or not, but they've put in an alpine coaster.
Yeah. So they've like grown really a bit since we've been there last. So it's hard to say what their state is now. But again, going back to the apple picking, if you want to get close to that Morganton area, it is one of the best to go to.
Oh yeah. And if you're if you don't have a camper, they do have tent sites, and they have little cabins, which is what we've stayed in.
A little story. So I remember a couple years ago when we went for the very first time and we rented a cabin, and we didn't have an RV yet. We had been dreaming about wanting one, and man, this really helped immerse us into that environment because, man, there were campers there, and me and Mandy just walked around that place. We rented a golf cart, and we just dreamed. It literally just kind of like put this
It put
desire.
A fire.
It did put a fire in us.
We
to
were
say,
like,
okay,
we've got to get a camper.
We've got to get a camper.
Like, we were picking out RV spots of like, oh, if we ever come back with a camper, this is where we would want to stay.
It was that place that, it was new to me. It was one I hadn't camped at as a kid, and so it was one that we really discovered together.
Yeah.
And so anyway, if you're ever in that Morganton area, it's a special place to us. It's very cool. Definitely check those guys out. And we will be throwing the links to these places in the description box. Yeah. If you're watching through our YouTube channel, they will be there. And then the next place, we want to mention
is in Hendersonville, and that is Granddad's.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if they ever have the U-Pick. I know the time that we went, it was during the Apple Festival. So like that's such a fun time to go to Hendersonville.
Right.
It's like the whole downtown is like a whole vendor fair and rides and all kinds of things. But when we went to Granddad's, they had already picked the apples, and you could just go and like pick up a basket or a bag or whatever.
That's right.
What I will say about this place is they had apple slushies.
Oh my goodness.
And that was the best thing ever.
And
it was so good.
I had low expectations for it. but it was amazing.
Oh, it was so good.
That was.
I would go back for that.
You knew it was
Slushy.
good when you showed up, and the line was like
you have to
out
wait in
through
line.
the parking lot.
But it's worth it.
But
it
yeah,
is worth
they had a
waiting in
corn
that line.
maze. The boys loved it. That's where they had the big silo.
Yeah.
Super nice, fun area.
And they even have like a little tractor ride or something.
Yeah, they had a tractor ride, and I think they had a bunch of carts tied to it. Almost like a train ride, but it was a tractor pulling across. So again, it's so much fun when you go apple picking on these little farms, the accommodations.
Yeah.
And we'll have to do an episode too about our Christmas tree farms because it's the same concept. I don't want to get into that now because we'll save it for another.
We have one place that is just like
Yes, we got a fun little gem of a place, and it is like tucked. You wouldn't know about it unless you just happen to search, or if you're in a certain niche, you would know. But we're excited to share that in another episode coming up. So again, we have the fall color that we've talked about, and how and finding a resource. We've provided a couple of resources on how you can find that information. We've talked about the fun of a campfire and how it can really be great for family time. And now apple picking. Again, these things are all things fall. And then something that we kind of want to allude a little bit to, but we will talk about more in our upcoming video this Sunday, is fall decor.
Yeah.
That is your zone.
Yeah. Well, because our camper is our home.
Yep.
And even if you're just taking a weekend trip or a week trip, like, it's just fun to cozy up the camper.
Yep, for sure.
But it doesn't take a lot. Like, you can do it very simply.
Yep.
And it still be cozy.
Yeah. Some people tend to think you have to overdo it. And, know, if a lot of you are in that place where you have a home and a camper, it can be hard to try to decorate both. Or if you're going on a trip, you don't want to carry a bunch of decorations.
Yeah. And you might think, oh, it's, we're just going to be gone a week or a weekend. It's not worth it. But just having a couple of pumpkins and a nice fall candle can really do a lot to cozy up a spot.
We will bring more of that to you coming this Sunday on our upcoming video. So see, now we have that staple. It has to happen. We can't say, oh, we missed this Sunday. It has to happen because now we said it's coming. So
well,
it's
we got it planned.
Yeah, we got it planned. It's in the plan. Okay, so now the next thing we wanted to talk about on our list was a favorite fall camping memory.
Okay.
And what's funny is the memory we did together. Now I've got a lot. I have a lot of memories growing up. Again, that's that early years of camping is really, I think, what instilled the love for camping in me. But kick us off in this fun fall memory.
So when we were newlyweds.
We were newlyweds. Yeah. Could not afford a camper yet. Nope. So I had this great idea to do the same wonderful experience of camping, but we can have that just in a tent.
Tent camping.
She
tent
was
camping.
She decided to go with me.
The first time that we went tent camping.
Yep.
It was like in May or something. So it wasn't fall, but it was May. And that was probably the one and only really good experience tent camping.
Yes.
Like all the other times have not been good.
Now I will say this too. I'm not the best at preparing a tent camping, nor am I the best at getting all the equipment, because I have seen some people who tent camp and they've got it going on.
Oh, like they've got living the best life.
For some reason, when I go, I just have like a little small 4-man tent.
We're just not meant to be tent campers.
We just weren't meant to do that. It's almost like roughing it. And in my brain, it's like I can't get us to a good place to get out there to where it's like comfortable and all the things. It's like we just have to rough it. And I won't ever forget, we went, and October's always been the month we just want to hit. My birthday's in October, and so we were always rolling out that way for my birthday. And we got out there, and man, it was freezing cold. And
now we didn't have any kids yet.
We
did have a Weimaraner.
Yeah, which was as bad as a kid, worse than a kid. A Weimaraner, if you've never heard of that breed, he's like a greyhound.
It's a dog.
He's like a greyhound dog, and he's real tall and lanky and
tons of energy,
which was, we bought him as an inside dog, which, wasn't a good idea in the first place. But so we get this dude out there and we get our tent set up. Now we were smart enough to bring a space heater. We brought a space heater because the campsite we were at did have power. But man, it got so cold, and we had a kennel and a place for Boomer, that was our dog's name, to lay, but he was not having it.
No.
So he got on the bed with us. We all slept in like our long johns and like thermals.
Yeah, we even try to finagle a sheet on the top of the tent to try to like hold heat in.
We did everything we could to stay warm, and then we had an air mattress, which was again even making the problem more worse because the ground was,
and it was not a nice
off.
Like big air mattress like you can find today.
But
like
the air was getting colder on the mattress, and so man, I'm telling you, that was the roughest.
It was, but I will say one of my favorite pictures is from that trip because it's of me and you and Boomer.
Yep.
And the trees are just beautiful behind us because they're just like vibrant fall colors. And we had Boomer dressed up in a lion costume.
Yep, that is true. Yes.
So it's like one of my favorite pictures.
It was an amazing trip. And my family had went, and they were like all cozied up in their RV or camper.
We were like, can we come spend just a couple of hours in here and watch TV and warm up?
For sure. And but again, like even roughing it in the cold. And so like when we talk about camping, we're not talking about only for the RVer.
Yeah.
Get out there with whatever you can get out there and just
so
experience
many
it.
campgrounds have little cottages or cabins.
Yes.
That one that we were talking about, Golden Valley, they have the cabins. They even have like these little tree house.
Absolutely. And we've stayed in them, and they were amazing.
Glamping tents. Like there's so many options nowadays.
And we went for that before we took the jump into the RV life, and because it does allow you to be in that arena.
Oh, it completely
of being outdoors and the campfires and things, but not quite have the burden of the RV yet. Yeah. It's a good way to ease your way into it, but we just can't stress enough that if you're not doing any of those things, get out there and enjoy it in the way you can. And for us, at first, it was tense.
Camping is not for everybody.
That's right.
But if it's done the right way, you will fall in love with it.
Yeah, because for some people, RV's not the way, but a tent is perfect.
Yeah.
And I like, my hat's off to those people because they're amazing.
I mean, we've seen people, like when we were out west, we saw people camping out of their vehicles, like their cars.
Yeah. We sure did. We saw some amazing.
They didn't even have a tent. They were just sleeping in their car.
We saw people tent camping out in Montana. And I mean, the weather was not the best, and they were just like having a good old time. And so, like, again, it's about perspective, but getting out there. And so now we want to sort of wrap this episode up with a bucket list fall camping place. So we've done majority of our camping now, excluding the Rockies because we've been out there all summer. But most of our camping and most of the places we know is in and around that North Carolina arena, right? That area. But we have a bucket list fall. And so I don't know if this is on the docket for next year or not.
I think it's going to make it.
We don't know, though, because we've planned most of the year. We just haven't planned.
Well, nothing is like set in stone yet. No. Like we've just been bouncing ideas around. We kind of have a good, idea of what we're going to do
but
next year.
But it's been a huge dream of ours to get to that New England area.
Yes. Maine, Vermont.
Yep. And so what we want to do is a call to action to you guys to say if you know of just the perfect place for RVing up in the New England area.
Yeah. Let
us know in the comments.
Because it will be, if it's not next year, if it's not 2024, it will definitely be 2025.
Yep. So within the next 2 years, we're going, and we want to go up, and we want to just attack all things fall. We eventually want to go up from Maine all the way down, and it may be in that trip, but we definitely want to hit when that fall color is just pristine, perfect. I'm sure you have to book early.
Oh, yeah.
In advance.
For sure. And what's really fun for me, this is girly, and this is like kind of Mandy's bucket list. But if you know me, I love Gilmore Girls. That is my favorite show ever. Nothing will ever top it. And so going to the Connecticut and just that whole New England area in the fall is like all things Gilmore Girls. And there are actually like places, like towns you can go that will do like Gilmore Girl events and things like that. But like hitting these places up in the fall with like coffee in hand,
Yep.
I will feel like I'm Stars Halloween it all up. Like
Nice.
it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So like that's one of the things like I'm most excited about going there.
Yeah, it's cool. She's definitely a Gilmore Girl fan, and the boys are always like, "Mom, not again."
But let us know,
show.
like,
yes,
what is y'all's bucket list?
That's right.
Fall places,
Yeah,
like
sure.
even if it's not New England, are there other places? Because it might be places that we've not even thought of.
Hey,
like,
we don't admit to being experts here.
No.
We just love sharing content.
Yeah.
And so, but we what we love about the RV community is the information that we can all share back and
Yes.
forth. And so if you know a better resource or a good resource for even fall color, if you know a great place to stay in New England, if you know great places in North Carolina, South Carolina, put them in the comments below. You don't know who you could help. Maybe that's been struggling to find a good place. You'll definitely help us.
Yeah. Oh, and especially if it's like the South Carolina
Yes.
area,
Yes.
because we're kind of like this season really immersing
right.
ourselves in the South Carolina
We are.
things to do,
Yep.
places to visit. I
Yep.
know there's a small little area of South Carolina that has mountains. So like
right.
if you're familiar with that, like let us know.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching today. We are excited about fall. We love it. It's one of our favorite seasons. We're enjoying it the best way we know how in our RV here in South Carolina. And with that, we hope all of you guys are having a great week. Look for our video coming up of fall decor and
A fall recipe.
a fall recipe. It's coming your way later this week. You guys have a great week. Bye.